All right, so we're gonna be going over battling today. Just real quick, like if you had to rate yourself, like in your battling skill, like what do you think out of 10? What'd you give yourself?
In terms of battling, maybe like a 6 or 7. I feel like
Six.
I'm okay at battling,
Mm-hmm.
but I just feel like I'm not that great at it.
Okay, and what about team building? I forgot to ask you last time.
Team building, I'd say probably like a 7 or an 8. I feel
Okay,
like I'm pretty good at that.
yeah, that's good because being a good team builder obviously makes the battle a bit easier on you if you have a good team going into the game. So, yeah, we're gonna be just going over a couple of things I do when battling, things to think about and stuff, and then we're just gonna be doing a bunch of replays that you sent me. So,
Okay.
yeah, it shouldn't be too long. Hopefully not. So, first thing we kind of went over this last time. Just when battling, first thing you want to do is start with your dedicated lead. You don't want to just like see a Pokemon that they bring that you might kind of not expect them to bring and then kind of panic and lead something else. Your dedicated lead is something that realistically is your best lead because you're going to think about it before the game even starts. I do think it's okay if you have like a dedicated lead and then if they bring a certain Pokemon, then you know to lead something else just because you don't want your dedicated lead into that one Pokemon. But it's stuff that you should know going into the game. You shouldn't kind of like think about what you want to lead like once you're in the battle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. So pretty quick, simple thing. Okay, so this is a big thing is plan out sequences with every click. So sequences is just like thinking of on your current turn, if you click a move and they do something, they switch or they click a move themselves, how is that turn going to affect the game state kind of 3 to 4 turns, let's say, in the future? You got to think of potential like switches or moves that you think they're going to make in advance, because if you don't think about sequences, you're basically just playing every turn as it is by itself, and by doing that you're not thinking of how the end game might play out. Like they can position themselves a lot better, and if they're thinking of how a specific move might affect their win con and how they can set it up by doing certain things. If you're just thinking of what's the best click this turn every turn and not thinking of how it affects later, like you're not going to be able to play to your win condition successfully. Is this something that you kind of do when you play? Like, do you think of like future things like sequences, or do you kind of just kind of focus on what's in front of you at that time and that's really it?
I feel like I'm better able to do it more in like the early game, right? Because at that point because I'm able to think about my lead beforehand, right? So it's
Hmm.
pretty clear to me what sort of sequences I'm able to make and what kind of how it's going to impact the game. But
Yep.
then as the battle sort of goes further on, I feel like I don't do this as much. I
Hmm.
still consider it, but it's a lot harder for me to actually like visualize and conceptualize if I do X, then they will do Y, or how it'll impact the battle. If you
Yeah.
kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure. I get it. I think, yeah, I think this is definitely one of the harder things to get down, but it helps tremendously. I probably didn't do this for the first like I don't know 2 years or something when I played draft. Like I just didn't really think of it. I just always thought of how does this turn like how do I get the most out of this current turn, which is still something you can do, but like I just didn't even think about like how it could affect it later. And I think once I started doing this, I definitely seen a big impact on it and how it definitely improves your gameplay. So again, we'll go over this too, like when we go over your replays. I just basically watched all the replays you sent me like very quickly. I didn't really analyze it too much. I figured it'd be better just to analyze it like with you here and to kind of talk about what you were thinking and everything. So, but yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely a big thing though, is sequencing. So only make predictions when necessary. So again, another question for you: when do you think is a good time to make a prediction in a game, just in general?
I mean, usually when you're kind of behind, you need to make them
Mm-hmm.
because otherwise, making like solid mid grounds that can kind of cover everything
Yep.
and push your sort of game state towards a victory. I feel like generally you don't need to make predictions if you
Yep.
kind of have solid plays planned out.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Everything you just said, you should really only make predictions when you're behind. You want to minimize as much as possible. And if you're ahead, or even if the game is even, like there's a chance that maybe your opponent is like an aggressive player and they overpredict. So I always say like it's better to let your opponent make the mistake then you make a mistake, unless like you have to go for it. There are times where, like, let's say there's a prediction, and if you get it right, you 100% win the game. There's no way you can lose. But if the other way is if you get it wrong, you 100% lose. You shouldn't do that, because if you can just find other win paths, you want to look for that, and you want basically the risk, which is what the next thing is. You want the risk to be as low as possible, with the reward being as high as possible. If it comes down to it, if it's a true 50-50, then, like, you know, that happens in Pokemon. You can't really do anything about it. But it's very rare. It's very rare that there's a true 50-50. I think there's, unless it's like literally like right at the end of the game or something. I think you just have to kind of focus on things that you might not think of, and basically you have to try to make the play that gives you the biggest like, how do I say it, like biggest favor, okay, for you. So yes, you can make a play that you 100% win the game, but you'd rather make a play that maybe gives you an 80% chance to win the game, while if you get it wrong, it's still kind of like 50-50, as opposed to 100% compared to 0 or 10% chance to win, you know? So you have to weigh in like risk versus reward when making predictions, and other things too. Not even making predictions, just like maybe if you should click a hazard or kill a Pokemon. Like, let's say there's a Garchomp versus a Nidoqueen or something, right? And there's a chance that both are like, one's Yachi, Garchomp, and one's Shuckleberry, Nidoqueen. You need to weigh, like, if you click Earthquake to pop the Shuka and do damage, or should you click hazards first? Like, what's the benefit of both? And it's not necessarily making a prediction, it's just like things throughout the game that you have to kind of weigh, like, what's the better click. There's generally a best click every turn, but there's a lot of times where, like, it might be hard to see, like, if that makes sense, before, like, maybe like after you look at the replay, like, you can see it better, but in the game you might not see those types of things. So it's just kind of understanding, like, what's the best play, and then if you make a prediction, how will it affect you? You want to make the predictions that gives you the minimum risk as possible.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, again, like, we'll go over the stuff in your games, so but I'm just kind of going over just things that you should be doing when battling. So kind of, we touched on this too, is basically how does every click affect your win condition, because the goal is just to win the game, right? That's the only thing that really matters. So you need to be thinking about your win condition with every click. How does getting a hazard up, or how does getting chip on this Pokemon, or how does potentially letting their Pokemon do something against your team affect your win condition? You should, like I said last time, you should have a win condition going into every battle. I'm gonna ask you too for your, like, if you even had one in the pace, because I have your pace too for the games we go over, and then I kind of want to see, like, if you kind of play to it, or if you don't even have one, or whatever the heck happened. But basically, you need to just kind of, it's a high thinking game, Pokemon. It's you got to think about a lot of stuff with every turn. It's not so simple as just clicking and then doing something based off of whatever your opponent does. You want to play proactively, not reactively to your opponent. You want to, like, kind of be behind the driver's wheel. You want to control the game, and by doing that, like, you can put your win condition in a favorable spot to win the game. Okay, that's the only thing that really matters. So you should be thinking, even if something is such an easy click, like U-turn versus something that's really low, you can kill it, you're faster, and you can get momentum. Then when you click that, and you're picking a Pokemon, you know, like, to bring in, you got to think about, like, okay, if you bring in this Pokemon, like, and then they bring in this, does that put you in a bad spot? Like, all that stuff. So, and all this stuff is a lot harder too if you're not good with timer. I think I asked you, I think you said you were okay with timer, or maybe in the beginning, right? You said you're good with timer.
Yeah, I'm mostly okay with timer.
Okay, yeah. So this would be a lot harder if you were not okay with timer, but if you're okay with timer, then yeah, you have time to think about all this kind of stuff going during the battle. So very similar, again, to the last thing is you got to think about your win condition, but you also have to not be vulnerable to their win condition. So it's very important to understand what their win condition is, what they're playing for, what Pokemon is best into your team that you your specific team that you brought to, like, your sets and everything that they don't know. And then you need to position yourself to basically not let that thing win the game for them. And there was something you did in one of the games that I'm going to go over, which is basically, it's not really bad because I don't really know if you actually had a better play anyway, But it's basically even something like, let's say they have 1 or 2 Pokemon left, right? And you're ahead in the game. Like you got like 4 or 5 Pokemon, you still have healthy Pokemon, you still have your win conditions, whatever. But let's say one of your Pokemon is like paralyzed or something, right? You you don't want hacks to kind of lose you the game, and you know paralysis can be annoying, and you could just get parried full a bunch of times in a row. So I think there was a time where you had a free switch into something, and you brought in a paralyzed Pokemon. I think it was a Blastoise or something. Basically, by doing that, even though like the Blastoise, for example, is a good matchup into whatever their Pokemon that was in, you're letting that Pokemon or the other Pokemon that was alive or whatever have a chance to just win the game because of hacks. Like if you were not paralyzed, yes, there's no way they could win the game, but you have to take into account like how they can win the game, all the possibilities, if they get a good Pokemon matchup, if they get hacks on their side. Obviously things like crits and stuff you can't really like guard against, like that's just the game. But avoiding Pokemon that can be fully parried when you can is something that I think is one of those things where you're putting yourself in like a vulnerable position for like their setup Pokemon to kind of sweep you. Okay, if that makes sense.
No, I think I cut out for like a minute or two.
What
Can you just?
the?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Can you just like repeat what you said?
Yeah. So yeah, putting yourself in a vulnerable position for their win condition is something that you don't want to do, obviously. And there was an example where you in one of your replays you had a paralyzed Blastoise, right? And
Yeah.
you brought it in versus like you had a free switch into something, but you brought it in. Now the Blastoise had a good matchup into that Pokemon that you brought it in, but it's paralyzed. So I think you were ahead like 5-2 or 4-2 in Pokemon. Like you were way ahead in the game. But by bringing in a paralyzed Pokemon versus a potential setup sweeper with their other Pokemon that was still not in the game, I forget what it was. You're basically putting yourself in a vulnerable position. So you want to do like whatever you can to not let hacks affect you. And things like crits, like I said, crits you can't control. Like that's just lucky, pretty much. But getting paralyzed, again, it's not, you can't control that either. But you can control not even having to worry about that, not having that Pokemon in versus their last Pokemon that might be a setup sweeper, if that makes sense. So you just have to be careful with how you position and not kind of lose a game due to something that you can avoid, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Okay.
like paralysis is like a pretty big chance, right? So
It's
if
like
you
I
can
think
avoid it, then
it's
it'd be a lot.
yeah, and if you can if you can avoid it. So obviously like sometimes you can't and it happens and it sucks, but if you just have to look at things if you can avoid just not having to get swept or not getting set up on or whatever, especially when you're in a position where you're winning the game, like you're way ahead. You don't want them to just kind of get a free opportunity and just reverse sweep you know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so next one is, so this is a big one too, is take as much info from every turn as possible. So you should be calcing. Basically, the simple stuff is just calcing if something is, boosting item like bandit or whatever, things that you can't see right away, like a life orb or something. And there's also tiny things like a very common thing is like the Tapu Koko versus Crocodile / Landorus. So when you send in the Pokemon on lead, the electric terrain will go first if Koko is faster, but if the Intimidate goes first, then the Crocodile or Landorus is Choice Scarfed, right? So there's things that like mechanics in the game that happen that can kind of give away certain information that you might not realize at first, or like if 2 Pokemon get sent in at the same time, and there's like hazards on both sides or whatever. There's like things that you can kind of just judge, or for example, like let's say you're playing. Okay, this is also in one of your replays. Your opponent has like a Great Tusk, right? Now Great Tusk can always run like a bunch of moves. Okay, there's not really like 4 moves for sure they're gonna run. And let's say you have a Drampa. Okay, let's say you have a Drampa, and
Okay.
like the Great Tusk is faster. The Drampa is kind of low, but not low to the point where it's in Ice Spinner range or Earthquake range. Like the Great Tusk has to have close combat to KO the Drampa at that range, and then the Great Tusk switches. That's something that you should keep in the back of your head, where it's kind of giving away that not only does he not have close combat, but he has to have, and he knows your item too, so he's not like scouting for Chopo Bear or anything. Like, you know he could kill you with close combat. That's something where, like, you know he doesn't have close combat, and then he has to have a different move. So those are like little things like you can think of that you can pick up during battles. Maybe he has like a different coverage move, like, I don't know, Heavy Slam for one of your fairy types or something, you know? So it's just like, try to gain as much info as possible from every turn. I know, like, it might be hard to think of all this stuff like as you're battling. I get it, trust me. But it's just, if you practice along, or even just like watch your replays and then try to do this with your replays as if you were battling live, just things like that will help you pick up things and get better at battling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you think that it's like it's worth it to analyze replays and kind of do that stuff? Because as you said, it's kind of hard to do it mid battle, so
yes.
I feel like it'd be kind of easier to do it after, right? When you kind of see it more clearly.
Yeah, I absolutely think you should. It wasn't something that I really did too much, but I think if you're trying to get better, and there's like replays that you just kind of get absolutely smoked, like you think your opponent just like outplayed you every turn, you might be doing things that kind of are like signifying to him like the plays to make, and then you can kind of analyze like what you did wrong and what you would do different. I definitely think it helps, and I definitely think it helps too, talking about it with other people, like, you know, myself or any of your other friends or whoever. Like, seeing things from a different viewpoint from other players might help you see things that, you know, you don't see. So I think if you don't understand why you lost a battle, or maybe you slightly won a battle that you thought you were going to just, you know, 6-0 or just like really destroy the person, yeah, I do think you should definitely analyze replays, and it'll help you get better at like doing things that help you, you know, win.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we got two more. So this is like common sense, but dude, I can't tell you how many times I've seen this. So unless you have a 100% win path guarantee, don't save differential. There's even leagues and tournaments like they don't even really care about differential anymore. But I've seen so many games where like they try to save differential and then they end up losing. So this is a quick one, but like I hope you don't do this. If you want to save diff, you can.
Not usually.
Yeah, unless you can for sure win. Like, I'm talking, there's no way you can lose. Sure, but realistically, you just want to win the game, man. It doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal. Unless it's like the last week of a regular league or something, and you need a certain diff to make the playoffs or something. Sure, but 99% of the time, like, you just want to win the game. You don't gotta save diff. All right, and last one. This is the big one. Don't tilt. Try to find out. Try to find your out until the game is over. So, yeah, man. Tilting is like in any game. It's not just Pokemon, but I understand like hacks can happen and it could frustrate you. And sometimes the early GG goes out, you know, and it happens, and you get mad. But you gotta, you can still win games even if massive hacks happens to you. You just gotta focus and try to find it out. Don't give up until like literally it says like the opponent won the game, okay? Because maybe you're down to 1 Pokemon versus 4 or whatever, and they hacked you and you're tilted, but maybe you can hack that 1 Pokemon, can hack them back. You know, you never know. Maybe like your win condition, like that you thought, oh, I had such a great matchup, and just gets like paralyzed or misses a move or something, and you're like, nah, this game is like BS. I'm gonna lose. Like, no, like just try to stay focused, and you can definitely potentially win games otherwise that you would think that it's just unwinnable because you missed a move or something bad happened. Okay, if you had to like, you know, you could be honest, if you had to like judge yourself, like, do you think you kind of tilt when hacks happens, or not really?
I mean, sometimes, but not really, because like my sort of mindset, right, is, you know, both me and my opponent are gonna hacks each other like an equal amount, right? That's just the part of the game. So
Yeah.
like, why get upset about it, you know? Like, even I sometimes go for plays, like if I have to, you know, like a 10% freeze or whatever, or I just click it if it's like good into them in hopes of like, oh, you know, if I freeze, then I'll win off the spot, you know?
Yeah. So it happens. There's certainly games where like obviously one person gets hacked, you know, way more, but I do think that I see a ton of people just kind of give up early, and they can certainly still win at that point. So it's just try your best to kind of stay focused, and you know, try to find her out. So those are basically just quick things I think you should kind of focus on when battling, and nothing too crazy there. But we're going to mostly focus on your battles now. So let's get out of here. And first battle we're going to go over is actually the one that we built for last episode. I know we saw it already, but just a reminder in case
No.
people
Yep.
saw the video but did not see the battle. This was the pace going in, and we were just going to lead Necrozma with this max Fizdef sub CM to take advantage of either Ferrothorn or Clef, but realistically Necrozma does have, you know, a good matchup into everything except for Kyurem. That Z Kyurem would probably just OHKO it. So they actually lead with the Lopunny, which is fine for us. We can just attack, and they choose to sack their Lopunny, which, you know, we're not complaining. I don't know if that's the play, but hey, we'll take it.
It was interesting.
Yeah. So now they go into Clefable. You go sub, which is good because, again, we said like if this was the lead matchup too, they're not gonna just straight up Moonblast. They're gonna either click Rocks, Knock Off, Thunderwave, right? So sub is always good here. And if they do Moonblast, they break the sub. It is what it is. You can make a switch into something, or you can just attack or Calm Mind or do whatever you want to do, you know. So, but no, we get that play correctly. So this is where I'm talking about. This kind of set can take advantage of getting a free sub on the more defensive Pokemon. So you Photon guys are initially just to scout the damage, which is fine. And they reveal Shadow Ball. So yeah, this guy is probably not the best battler. But yeah, Moonblast actually does more. Shadow Ball only does more to Jellicent, but Moonblast still hits that pretty well too. So it should have been Moonblast because Moonblast does break the sub. But hey, we're not complaining. So yeah, then from here on out, I don't think we really make a mistake. Like, you just Calm Mind up, 2 Shadow Balls, and we still don't know if he is actually Unaware or Magic Guard. It's only until you start boosting a bit more that you're going to find out that he's actually Magic Guard. So, and because these lefties were able to kind of stay semi-healthy, and now you guys are again here and you get a crit, which is kind of lucky. Here, I think there's no reason not to just keep boosting, because Geyser does not have that much PP too. So if you didn't get that crit, it might have been a bit tough. I don't know. I forget. I think you had 0 right at the end of the game or something. So
No, I think so. Yeah.
yeah, so like without that crit, you might have maybe run out of it and not be able to kill, like, I don't know, Volcanion or something. But yeah, there's no reason for you to attack. Like, you can just Calm Mind up for free. He's clearly not like doing anything different. He's not switching. He doesn't have Encore. He would have went for it. So there's no reason to attack. You just get more Calm Minds. So then your Geyser can either just OHKO it or, you know, 2-shot it later. But at the end of the day, it's not going to matter. You're still going to get at least 2 Pokemon with this set, the Lopunny and the Clefable. So there you see that he's going to go for another Shadow Ball, and it's not going to break sub. So it does reveal that he is Magic Guard. He's not Unaware. And then, yeah, so if you kill him behind a sub, which I believe you do here, you should realistically get 1 more kill, and then he should be able to revenge you at something. So he goes into Kyurem, and then he makes a double switch. So I don't know what that really was, but then he gives you another kill for free. He really should have just broke the sub and then killed you with, or tried to kill you with Z move Torn. I don't even know if that would have killed you because you're +3, but
I don't think it killed.
Yeah, probably not. Or maybe he could have went into Torn first to break the sub with Z and then kill you with like an Outrage or something. But yeah, this is just gonna sweep on lead. So, but it's even like this game where like you're like, holy crap, like I didn't have to do anything, like I 6-0'd. There's even like a play that I was talking about when you should have just kept Calm Minding instead of Photon Geyser. That was technically a misplay. It didn't obviously matter, but it's just even like that, like just going over every single turn, maybe thinking of what your best possible play would be. I don't really blame you though, because like if I'm in this position, I'm like, oh, like I'm just having a good time, like I'm gonna win this game regardless. So maybe you weren't really like thinking about everything, obviously, but yeah, it's just something I think you should kind of do, even off games that you stomp. There might be always a play that you could do better than you did, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like my mindset sort of was like, I just wanted to scout if they were, what's it called, Unaware. Because if I Photon Geysered, it did. Actually, wait.
Yeah, Photon Geyser
it
ignores
Unaware, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind then.
Yeah, you were just playing probably quick anyway at that point. But yeah, just things like that. So all right, let's go into another game here. So this is Nat decks. So Nat decks, there's no hidden power though, right?
Yeah, hidden powers banned.
Okay. All right, so let's look at the team. So we have a booster, looks like booster speed bundle, stab, sub, encore. I like this. This is a cool Torn set. Sub, bulk up, and then 2 attacks with the Salic. Especially offensive spikes, chomp with Roselli. Sub sucker 2 attacks, or play off Fire Fang for coverage. You have a lot of sub on this team. What the hell?
Yeah.
3 sub, okay. And then Fizdef, mostly Fizdef Uxie. And then a Fizdef, a checked pack camera up with rocks. So that's pretty cool. It's a cool team. Oh. Okay, so looking at this team and looking at their team. Did you have a dedicated lead? I think Chomp is probably the best lead here, but I'm not sure if you had
Yeah,
one.
I mean, I didn't really have a dedicated lead going into this, but I was thinking like probably Chomp, just because it's pretty good into everything.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good into everything, and then the one it outspeeds everything too. The only thing that it doesn't is Zero, but that's a good matchup for you anyway. So unless it's like, wait, does Ninetales have like Z moves? No Z moves, right?
No, Z moves are banned from this.
Okay, yeah. So like the hardest hitting thing would be like Banded Play Rough maybe or something. I don't think that kills you though.
No.
And then is there Terra in this?
No Terra.
No Terra. Okay, so it's just straight up move on. Okay, so let's lead Chomp here. They lead Honchkrow, which is interesting. So when you lead two, what do you think is like the most common item on a lead Pokemon? You think?
Probably like Sash or
yeah,
something
Sash,
like that. Yeah,
Sash or maybe like a Scar from like an uninspected Pokemon, kind of. But it's usually Sash. So, and I think in some of the games that you sent to, I think you had Sash Pokemon too. So yeah, Sash is always something that you kind of have to take into account. And so, what are you thinking here with this click here? What do you go for?
like in hindsight or like what I did during the
right, like, well, like kind of like you could do both. Like so, like in the game here, like I mean, I can click to see what you went for, but like, what did you go for and why do you think is that the play?
Okay, so in the actual battle, I think I went for spikes.
Okay.
And I just kind of assumed that like the Honchkrow would be like, I don't know, like U-turn or like be choice scarfed or something like that, right? I don't think it would be able to kill the Garchomp.
Okay.
And so I just thought spikes were a pretty safe click into him. But I feel like looking back at it now,
yeah, maybe
going for like a Draco here wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, I think Draco
because I feel like
the best click.
Yeah, because even if Celesteela comes in, I do have like Uxie that can pivot in on it, or even Camerupt, right? It doesn't really threaten my team too much. And Great Tusk might try and come in. I mean, probably not, because it doesn't know if I'm special or physical yet, but
yeah,
it might have been a potential play for him.
Yeah, if you're a normal, like pretty offensive Chomp, yeah, I think Tusk is a pretty good switch in. And then if you're leading it, it is a chance that you have hazards, and so he can come into spin too. I like Draco because it hits this thing hard. It hits the Tusk insanely hard. Like, they can go steal us, sure, but you'll get some chip off, you'll get some intel, things like that. But you go right for, and too, like, if this thing is Sash, right, and you Draco as he just hits you, this thing does like to run Sucker Punch. So you could go for a spike on the following turn if you want to kind of predict the Sucker Punch, or they'll switch because you're going to be faster and you'll probably two-shot this thing, right? So I think attack into spike is a lot better if they stay in, or just attack into, do whatever if they switch. So they don't switch, you go for a spike initially, and they go for Icy Wind. Yeah, now I'm not gonna lie, Icy Wind is kind of crazy, but it does get it. So you get a spike up, but you are pretty much down a Chomp now, and you have to switch. So that's a bit unfortunate. You go Torn, which I think Torn isn't bad. They're not going to go for Icy Wind again because they can miss, and I'm sure they have a better move to just KO it. And they go for Dark Pulse, which is fine. So with your Torn set here, you do kind of have like an all-in set, and you do sub and you do go for it. So and they show come up in. So do you even know what this move does or no?
It's like Metal Burst. It does 1.5 damage.
Yeah. So
it's like counter stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's like counter Miracle, but it does 1.5. But So what this move means is this pretty much confirms that it is Focus Sash, because he wouldn't have that move if he wasn't so like positive that he could live any hit and do this out. Because Honchkrow is not a bulky Pokemon really. So if you
No.
let something like Bundle or even Mawile or something, like, you're gonna one shot this thing. So at that two right there should signify that it is Sash. I don't know during the game at this point. Did you think it was Sash or what did you think?
Yeah, I knew it was Sash,
Okay.
so I kind of just stayed in here. But I feel like looking back at it now, like I don't know what the calcs are, but I feel like going for reversal may have been the best play here.
Right
Because
on this turn, yeah. I was gonna say attack
yeah,
here, yeah.
because I feel like they're probably just Heat Wave last. Because I
Yep.
don't think they'd want to be fodder into Mawile.
Yep, I agree. I think it is Heat Wave last. Heat Wave or Sucker Punch, but it's probably Heat Wave.
Yeah, well they have Icy Wind for the Chomp, right? So I didn't really think that they would need Sucker Punch on this.
Yeah, well, it could just be for like anything, like even Bundle or something too. But they have Comeuppance, so it's like it's gonna be Heat Wave more than likely. Yeah. So I do think, yeah, because you're behind a sub and this thing does have Regenerator too, so you can just break it. Then you can come back in later if you want. But no, you just go for the bulk up. So you're gonna end up basically trading Torn for the Sash, the Sash Honchkrow, and then basically your full Chomp. So obviously not a good trade for you, but again, don't tilt. I still think Bundle and Mawile have a really good matchup into this team, so it's definitely not over. Not even close. So you go Chomp here to revenge the Honchkrow. Oh, and you miss Fire Blast. So was there a better move? So you don't want to use your booster yet.
Mawile, I think, would have been the better play here.
Yeah, so if you're gonna, you went Chomp, but I do think Mawile is the best to just Sucker Punch because again, like oops, like what's the last one? It's probably gonna be Heat Wave. It's probably gonna be an attack. So you either Sucker Punch and force it out, and then or you just kill it. He's probably not gonna save a 1%, Honchkrow, but he might. But because you went in Garchomp too, like even clicking Fire Blast, I think is a mistake. I think you're just Draco, man. Yes, Draco can still miss too, but you want to just click your highest accuracy move here because a miss here, as you saw, like you're just gonna lose another Pokemon now for nothing. So this Honchkrow did way too much. Like it took out two really strong Pokemon, basically in exchange for a Spike. So, but it is what it is. Again, still winnable. Then you'd make the correct play. You stay in regular, which is fine to keep the Intimidate, and they go Banette. So, what do you think the play here is? I think it's a pretty obvious click here for you.
Probably go into camera.
Yeah.
They have Will-O-Wisp, right?
Yeah. So Banette is very famous for Will-O-Wisp, Destiny Bond, prankster crap. So Mawile pretty much can get a kill like almost every time because you do have the fire coverage for Steela. So, and like if you go camera up tier on the Will-O-Wisp, you basically get it in for free. And then I wouldn't click rocks necessarily. I would click just the overheat button because you're slower, so you get momentum. There's no fire resist, so if they switch, that's even better for you too. And then you can go from there. I don't even know if overheat just one shot. I doubt it does. So even if you clicked like Destiny Bond or something, you're not dying, and then you can go into something else. But you don't do that. That's fine. So you take the Willow. You're gonna do a shitload anyway. But here's another turn where it's like, okay, what are you thinking? What's the click here?
I think still going into camera would have been. Would have been fine.
Yep, I think camera up is fine. I think you can go Uxie too, maybe. It just depends on like what do you think they're gonna click here.
I feel like Poltergeist is probably the most likely.
Yeah, Poltergeist makes sense. Yeah. So they actually go for rest, which is kind of crazy, but and then you try to sucker. So that's the only thing where I think maybe Poltergeist is not that good because like they can probably assume that you're gonna have Sucker Punch. So I think if they're thinking of Sucker Punch, they're not gonna attack you. They're gonna probably switch, or they're gonna do something like this where they don't have like a move that triggers Sucker Punch. So that's why, yeah, I think you're also correct. I think going Camera Up is also fine. And then if you went Camera Up on this turn right here, then you can click Rocks. You don't even have to click the Overheat button because they're rested, so they don't have like a free click after. But they're actually Rest Talk Will-O-Wisp. Any idea what their last move is, you think?
I'm guessing just like Poltergeist, like probably some kind of attacking move.
Yeah, it's gonna be Poltergeist.
Because I didn't have any Ghost Resist on this team.
Yeah, it might be Sneak, but it might be Polter too. Yeah, definitely one of the two. So, but they rest, they pull Rest, and then they switch. So that's fine. I agree with you. You play Roughing twice at this point. And then you're going to make the switch into Uxie on a potential Fire move / Earthquake. That's a good click. They just Heavy Slam. What do you click? Mystical Power. What do you got on Uxie? Mystical Power, Thunderwave Encore. U-turn. Okay. So why did you Mystical Power here? What are you thinking?
I think I just clicked Mystical Power because I was assuming like they maybe go into Bennett or into the Zero Aura. But I think just going for like U-turn or switching out into Camera Ups would have been better here in hindsight.
Yeah, I think U-turn, because you said they might switch into Bennett or they might do something else. Like U-turn is always the click here. I understand like maybe they have a substitute or something, but that's okay because you do have Booster Encore, so that wouldn't even be a big deal either. I understand, yeah, you're using your booster, but at that point, if he subs, like he's going down to 40% and he's going to be locked, so that's okay. Booster is nice to outspeed the Zera, but again, you have a full HP Camera Up, so Zera Aura isn't too much of a problem as long as that guy is around. So yeah, I do think Encore is the play here. I definitely don't think Thunderwave is the play. He's got 2 immunities, Sleeping Bennett. Mystical Power, no, I don't think that's the play either, because again, if you think he's switching, U-turn is just strictly better. So, but it is what it is. You stayed in, so you get a boost for what it's worth. And then what's your click here? Did you turn now?
Yeah, I think I U-turn.
Okay, that's good. Big Camera Up, and then hopefully, well, I think Rocks or Overheat's fine here. Yeah, you Overheat. Holy shit, that was a crit. Why did that do like nothing?
Yeah, they're like Spadef Kirim, like light screen. I think they showed that later in the battle.
Holy shit. Okay, so you go into this now. Why don't you go into Mawile here? Because you're burned, right? So like you're not gonna get a whole ton of like much out of this. So I feel like this is a finding because you probably live Earth Power. Like it's boots, right? It didn't take. Yeah, it's boots.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I live Earth Power.
Yes. So I think Mawile might have been better here.
I think it would have. Maybe my reasoning was like thinking that they might have been able to go to Celesteela again, but I'm not too sure why I made this play.
Okay, well, so you go Uxie, and then what are you thinking of clicking here? Because you don't know anything about this Kirim yet. You know it's Spadef, I suppose, from the Overheat, but
yeah, probably just like a T-Wave right now. Like I don't think they'd go. Yeah, I don't think they'd go back to like Zera Aura or Bennett when I showed U-turn.
Okay. So okay, they show light screen and you do Thunder Wave it, which is good. That's always good. Because now I think Mawile definitely outspeeds it, and then you can Encore Lock. So that's really good. This is good. You get the U-turn momentum now. And okay, so you actually attack. I think again U-turn is just always better there.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So you know he's switching. It's not even really a prediction at that point. And if he doesn't switch, then he's locked into light screen. You can go into whatever you want, really. You can go into bundle and you can click sub for free if you want. Because then once he breaks the Encore, you can Encore again, right? So I think that would be really, really good. But you attack, so he doesn't really take much. And then you probably would have to go camo here. Yep. And they just knock off, so that's fine. You use your thing, so you're still okay. And you could probably get up Rocks here is probably the best play. Ooh. Okay, so it's looking like either Tusk or Zera Aura is probably their win condition. Right, so they're not gonna... There's no way... So you go into the your counter, your check to Zera Aura. There's no reason for them to stay in, right? You will-o-wisp.
Yeah.
Did you expect him to go like something else, or did you expect him to stay in? Why did you will-o-wisp there?
I think I expected them to go into Tusk during the battle.
Okay. So yeah, that's just a bit tricky because you did already reveal Overheat too, or not Overheat. Sorry, Will-O-Wisp. So
I don't think I revealed it before.
yeah, this is your second one, right? Oh no
No,
no no.
it's because
Okay,
the
pressure
pressure.
pressure. Okay
Yeah.
okay okay okay. So then, yeah, that's fair. They can go into touch because also I think was the thing up the light screen, or did it go down this turn right here? No, it's one more turn. So yeah, that's actually fine then. Yeah, because they can go Tusk. Probably, especially too if they expect rocks too, because it can spin. So I don't think Willow is necessarily a bad play. I probably would have went for. I probably would have went for rocks. So if they did go Tusk, then your play would have been better. So honestly, that's a good play. I don't think there's a problem with that. I just didn't want you to click Willow-Wisp expecting them to stay in because um, that's not really a play from them. But yeah, if you expected Tusk, then that's a fair assumption to click Willow there. So let's see what they do next. Do you click Rocks now? I'm assuming. Yeah. Rocks is
Yeah.
good. They Roost. They Draco Meteor. Okay. So again, this is like one of those turns where I feel like after you Rocks here, your Mawile is just not doing a bunch. So maybe you anticipate a light screen. They go for Draco, which would have worked out anyway. I think you just use Mawile to switch into Kyurem here because you can still use Uxie for Tusk, maybe for Zera, maybe to Encore. Celesteela is something. Mawile is not going to be doing it's not going to be doing much to Tusk or to Zera really much anymore. But this thing shows Draco Meteor too. I know you didn't see it yet, but they're probably Draco Earth Power. They can't be
Yeah, I
Draco
think they
Ice
have to be.
Move because then they're just literally walled by this. So I think that is a turn where I would just go Maul out here because letting this thing take a big. Maybe did you expect Earth Power? I don't know if you expecting Earth Power is really a play there, but
I think I was just assuming Earth Power would come out, but yeah, what you're saying now about going into Mawile, that probably would have been. I think that is the better play now in hindsight.
yeah, I think so
Cause
too.
yeah, because Uxie's pretty important for like most of their team. So
Yeah, it's that Tusk. I think that's fine. I know you have that. Still, you still have booster speed, but Tusk pretty much will kill everything else now. So, but that's all good. So they Draco, they're -2. What's the play here? Your turn is good. Big camera up comes in. Sub overheat is good. You miss unfortunately. So I don't know why they sub there, unless they can like live like the next one with a sub at -2. But I'm not sure if they can because overheat's a strong move.
yeah, I don't think they would have lived.
Yeah. So they bring in. They sub. Maybe they thought you would Will-O-Wisp again too. I'm not too sure. That's just hacks. There's nothing you did wrong there. I go Uxie on the Earthquake to try to Encore. Looks like, and they're actually faster, so that's tough. So they're very fast on Celesteela. I'm assuming you had like no speed, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, you had none. So they definitely crept no speed Uxie with that. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You can't really do anything about that. So, and this is where it's probably like game over. You overheat to break the sub. Yep. And then they probably just KO you. Okay. Then you have to go into bundle to kill it. But they just have. Okay, so they go Zera Aura actually. Unless they're scarfed.
They said they were Assault Vest, I think.
Oh, did they? Okay, well also
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean they were Assault Vest. They could say it, but a lot of times people
Okay.
would just be like, "Oh, I lived anyway," you know. But realistically, they might not have been. They could have been because they weren't boots and they weren't showing an item. But that's one of those things where like even though you were so behind in the game, like bundles still look like if it killed the Zero with that pump or crit it or something, like it probably lives one Draco Meteor from Kyurem, and it kills the other two, obviously. So like you literally could have still won this game, even after all these plays that I'm kind of talking to you about, where like there's probably better plays to make. You still literally could have won this game. And then imagine if this thingy wasn't wasn't burned, but yeah, you can't win obviously with all that. You missed overheat, you missed pump, so that's why, dude, I hate bundle, man, because you have to rely on pump, which sucks. I hate that move. I always run surf if I can over hydro pump on things like Greninja or whatever, but it is what it is. It happens. I don't know what their move with their item on this guy was. It might have been scarfed. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I feel like it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, but bundle, yeah, bundle looked great. You got hazards up too. It's just losing so much in that early like exchange was just didn't put you in a good spot. But I don't think you necessarily played that game bad. It's just hacks got to you, and then you were playing from behind most of the game, so it does make the game a lot harder. But I think your prep was fine in this game. Like I didn't see really anything that stuck out. I don't know what else you benched and stuff. Doesn't really matter. I think going in with this team, like you definitely had a good shot to win the game. Maybe if like the Torn set was different, but from what I can see, like flying plus reversal like seems pretty good into his team too. Bulk up is cool too because it can like his Celesteela was physical too, so bulk up was actually like really good into this. Like he brought all physical except for Kyurem, which Kyurem will get owned by reversal obviously. So that was a good set. Maybe like two. So if we go back to the font, maybe like during that whole Honchkrow exchange. So you switched to save the Torn. So maybe like you went Torn here, but maybe like pivoting to Mawile after right here could have been a play.
Okay.
It could have been Heat Wave though, so it's tough. Or just going Camerupt and then overheating, because I know like Camerupt is your Trek to Zera, but this Torn set like looks pretty damn good versus his team. So maybe again, I don't know if you just didn't expect Sash, or if you knew it was Sash, like, and you just were content with trading Torn for the Sash. Maybe you could have traded something else, but I don't really know. It just after this whole exchange, like it was kind of just tough, and then like getting burned on Mawile, like the fact that it was even kind of close where if bundle hit, like you might have just won. Still, like that's good. Like that's the things you kind of have to look at in battling. Like sure, like you can point out all the bad things, and I'm gonna like kind of tell you things I disagree with, but like you gotta look at the good things too, man, and then just improve on the things that you might have not realized at first, and then go from there. So but there was a lot of hacks that game too, so it's kind of hard to really judge much on how that game would have ended if there wasn't really much hacks.
Yeah, I get it.
So this was round 3, so like there was no more games right after this.
Yeah, no, this is the final round.
Okay,
that I played in at least.
all right. So all right, that's cool for that matchup. Let's look at another one. This looks like it is winter seasonal round 7. Okay, so actually made it pretty far here. That's good. So we have a Focus Sash, just 3 attacks, Hypnosis. We got a Encore SD to attack, stab is fine. Sub DD, loaded dice, mixed defensive, just T-Wave spikes, mostly Fizz Def, Rocks Helmet, and then a Spit Def Girder. That's cool. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So this is Terra, right? So I'm assuming what Ogerpon is your Terra?
Yeah, Ogerpon's my Terra, and then they have Terra Screamtail and
Terra Screamtail?
Regidrago.
Oh, they have 2?
Yeah, they have 2.
Okay. So let's just look at the Terra captains first. So you're obviously water. They were fairy and dragon, so they didn't even change their types. So okay, so when I see that, so usually when a Pokemon doesn't change their type, obviously Ogerpon is an exception because you can't. When a Pokemon doesn't change their type, realistically they're going to be very offensive. Like they're going to be, because they want that extra like boost from staying the same type. So I don't know if you could tell, but realistically you should be able to tell right away that their Terra target is going to be the dragon guy. You're not going to make Screamtail an offensive Terra Fairy like spam move. So that's something you should take into a note, and you only have 1 dragon resist, looks like, so you got to be very careful with the Klefki versus Regidrago. So we have a Darkrai versus Darkrai matchup, and you are Sash. So again, Sash is very likely as a lead. They might be Sash as well. What are you thinking here? What's your click?
Uh, it's hard because like because obviously if this could be really bad if I lose the 1v1, right? But also going out to Klefki might not be worth it as well, just because that's really important for the Regidrago. And that could also be, put to sleep or like hit by Focus Blast, right?
Yep.
So
yeah,
I feel like
they have 2 clicks, like Focus Blast or Hypnosis or Switch. That's all they're clicking here.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like just trying to trade the 1v1 might be the best play. Maybe in hindsight, I could have like picked a better lead, right? Something that would match up better into the Darkrai.
What do you think that would be?
Honestly, maybe Girder. Doesn't really lead up to the other guys though. I mean, I feel like maybe I could have added an Electros on the team, so maybe I could have brought that like AV Electros lead off with that.
Yeah, or like or like it could be like U-turn with Sleep Talk as well, within 2 attacks. In case you do get put to sleep. That's something I like to do when I play against Darkrai, is have a Sleep Talk mon as on the Pokemon that I plan to switch into it. Girder is okay if they lead something like. So, what do you think would be a bad lead for Girder if you led Girder?
Probably the Petron, because that could poison me. Klefki doesn't really take it on well either, even though it is immune to poison. So
yeah, but you are Spadef and you are Guts too, and you're knockoff. So even that technically isn't really like a terrible matchup.
That's true.
You'll take the probably knockoff, then you'll probably have to switch into something else. So, but anyways, we can't do that. So we have Dark right here. So what do you think is your best play here?
I think I would just click a Focus Blast here.
Okay, is that what you actually did? No, you went to. Okay, so you went to.
No,
Klefki.
I went Klefki.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we definitely talked about how you definitely need this for the dragon guy. It's hard because you pretty much have to pick a Pokemon if you're switching to go to sleep. So obviously you don't want to do that for anyone. If you had to reevaluate this turn, what do you think you would have done? You think?
I think going into Girder.
Girder?
Because it's kind of just
having Girder go to sleep. Yeah, I probably agree too, because it's Spadef too. So, but you go Klefki, so, and then he just, oh man.
Yeah.
So you stay in to take a turn of sleep, and then he just pretty much kills you with a crit, which is unfortunate. Landing plus a crit is kind of crazy. He landed Hypnosis, Focus Blast, and crit. That's got to be like pretty lucky. I think even after you made the mistake of letting Klefki go to sleep, I think you probably want to switch out, because you don't want this to take a lot of damage. And if you keep this thing asleep, at least he can't put something else asleep. And he has to click Focus Blast. He's not clicking Dark Pulse, Sludge Bomb, Psychic, whatever he has. Like, he has to click Focus Blast. So I think just going Girder is fine. You're not going to take a ton of damage, and then you threaten it out, and you probably click Knockoff, right, on something coming in.
Yeah.
But you take the Focus Blast, and your thing is pretty much dead. So now you switch to Girder, and then you take 16.
For Dark Pulse.
Yeah. And you click Knock here. Yeah, Knock's good. And then, so with Klefki asleep and so low, like, again, it's good to keep it around so you can't put anything else to sleep. But at the same time, now what are you going to switch into this guy? Okay, actually, so this is what I'm talking about, where like he is so ahead right now, even though it's only been like 4 to 5 turns, right? And he already knocked you, like you already knocked him off. Pesharant should beat Girder 1v1 here. So I don't know why he's predicting you to switch. Maybe you should switch, but he shouldn't be predicting you to switch. He should just be he should just Malignant Chain, because even if he doesn't, then, I mean, if you go Klefki, like, he could just kill you with, the Ghost move after. So, and Malignant Chain gets a poison on a switch, or, like, yeah, you can give this guy Guts, but Pesharant is so physically defensive, and he already lost his item. Knockoff is not going to be doing a ton to you. And again, just poisoning anything on the switch is also very nice. So he should not be parting shotting here. This is a mistake in my opinion. This is an overpredict. And you stay in. So I don't know what you clicked here.
I think I just went for bulk up.
Bulk up, okay. So now your neutral attack +1 defense versus Corviknight. Flying resist is pretty much dead. Fighting resist is Landorus. So what do you think he's gonna click here? Just like U-turn, or do you think he's gonna attack you? What are you thinking?
I feel like U-turn's pretty safe for him because like he just goes back into Petron or even Screamtail if he wants to get up rocks.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for him, U-turn's probably the safest play. So I just went into Landorus here.
Okay. Get the Intimidate. Alright. He reveals Iron Defense. So we gotta look at your team here. So Iron Defense is a bit troubling because your switch into Corviknight doesn't deal with it. You do have Hypnosis, you do have Encore. This thing's asleep. So you really only have 2 things to deal with this guy, and they're not really reliable because if you miss Hypnosis, you die to Body Press or go down to Sash. And if he attacks on a turn, you go hard into the Ogerpon, then that's unfortunate as well. So this is, oops. So this is a tough spot for you. And even like, okay, so you have Taunt. This is something where I would, again, it might be hindsight, but I don't know if you saw like how much of a threat. You probably didn't see how much of a threat Iron Defense Corviknight could be for this type of team. But this is where I think maybe even having Earth Power, I think on Landorus is better. Like Earth Power plus Smackdown. Because Earth Power not only covers for this, but it also hits Petron way harder. Because of that thing's Fizz Def. Does that make sense? I don't know what else you benched too. I don't know if you remember or not.
I don't remember too much of his other guys, but yeah, I think that probably is better in hindsight, right? Because
because you're not an offensive Landorus, you're no attack. So
yeah, I think I had Taunt just because like I was thinking I could block a defog or something, but Smackdown Earth Power would have functioned pretty similarly.
Yeah, or if you wanted to keep Taunt, you could take off U-turn. You don't need U-turn, but yeah, I definitely think having something for this Corviknight, because like again, looking at Iron Defense versus your team, it's really tough for you. So, and then just again in general, Earth Power just hits things harder, mainly the Petron. So if you're not like a offensive Landorus, like I think you can certainly afford to go Earth Power here, but you don't have it here, so you got to try and like. It's tough. You got to try and like go into something right and get him chipped to the point like maybe 60 to 50 to where he's going to roost. So then you can hard go Ogerpon and Encore. Otherwise, you're going to lose a lot of Pokemon here. So you go for Rocks, which I think Rocks is kind of crazy here, but it works out because he just body presses. Because you want to deal with this thing immediately. I think once he realizes that you can't really do much to him, then he's going to probably start going for more Iron Defenses, but you taunt him. So taunt isn't bad, but now you know that, whoa, okay. Now you know that he has to Body Press or Brave Bird, Iron Hand, or whatever, which is a problem for you because, well, it's not necessarily a problem because what you could do, I guess, is, oh, he has Iron Head. Honestly, so the Rocky Helmet is actually can save you here. I think I see what you're doing here. So you're Earthquaking because like you don't want to switch, right? You don't want something.
Yeah, I just want to kind of chip it down a bit.
Okay. So this is a good plan actually. I didn't see it right away, but yeah. So you're making him attack you to take chip. So he has Iron Head, so he's got to have Roost, right, as his last. And then basically when there's a turn that he's like kind of half, you should go Ogerpon on a Roost. That's how to get out of this. Like best case scenario, like you don't have to sack a Pokemon. Things like that. So here, I think you still have to taunt him. Yep. This is good. Why did you go Klefki here, you think?
I think I just wanted to save Flanders for like maybe Urshifu or something like that.
Okay.
I felt like Klefki is probably my easiest way into like a Darkrai or Ogerpon here.
Okay, so what is your play after? Your play is just try to Hypnosis.
Yeah, and not a great plan, but
yeah. So yeah, that's tough. I think going back, what you were doing was actually just better. and just taunting, and then let him hit you probably 2 more times, so then you know he would roost, and then you go Ogerpon and Encore him into the roost, and you save your Klefki. You'll still have your Landorus with like 40% health-ish, and then you don't have to risk this whole Hypnosis garbage, but
Yeah.
at least you hit the second one, so, and then still, like, what's your plan after this? You just, okay, Dark
I think it
Pulse.
just Dark Pulse trying to kill him.
Unfortunate, okay. So, yeah, even after the Hypnosis landed, it's tough. So now you go Ogerpon. Do you just Encore him into Ironhead? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, you lost 2 Pokemon instead of potentially losing 0. Again, it is a bit tough, but we'll see what we can do here. So you go for the... Well, I kind of missed those turns. Okay, so you Encored him, good. And then you SD, predicting a switch, which is good. And then you just bop the Pesheron. So that's good. Whoa. So he is telling you right now he's, well, probably Choice Scarfed, but you are, what, your stab, right? Yeah, you're stabbed.
Yeah.
So you could have Play Rough, though. So I think this, even though you know you can't really touch this thing too much, I mean, honestly, the Cutcho probably still does a shitload, but even though, like, you know you don't have Play Rough, he doesn't know that. So the fact that he's so confident in sending it in just gives it away that he's Scarfed. So unfortunately, not really much you can do about it, though. Your Dragon Resist is dead, obviously, so you probably just have to sack Landorus, or you sack this guy. Okay.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really expect him to be Choice Scarf during the battle, but it kind of makes sense now,
Yeah.
looking back at it.
I don't really, at this point, there's not a whole ton you can do. I think your best chance is, your only chance is letting him get confused and then trying to get the setup with Kyurem. That seems
Yeah,
like
that's what I tried to do here.
Yeah. So you intimidate him. Outrage comes off, doesn't kill Girder, so he's got to hit you one more time. Good. And then you're going to go Kyurem, I assume. Yep. And hopefully he hits himself. Yeah, so the rest of these plays were correct. Nice. Okay, Dragon Dance. Okay, KO him. Okay, does +1 KO everything? Because again, you got to be thinking of, you need to win this game. This is your only way to win this game. So I think what you should have done probably is risk the
Dragon Dance again.
Yeah, risk the confusion, because I'm assuming something's gonna live at +1, right? Okay, Urshifu is actually Scarfed again. No way. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to assume +2 loaded dice does KO this guy. So it does look...
I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah, it does look like if he hit himself, this thing actually did just win. So that's one of those things where, again, you kind of just have to look at your outs, your win condition, and sure, yeah, it sucks that your win condition was him hitting himself twice, but at that point, that is your only way to win this game. I know you didn't know he was Scarfed, but even like Urshifu might even be able to live, honestly. I don't know. Screamtail can probably live at +1 in either T-Wave U or Encore U or something too, you know? Encore wouldn't really matter because Ice Move is free, but maybe T-Wave or something. So I think going for that hit was definitely the best play there, but it happens. It was kind of... This game was just... I mean, you know what you did wrong now, which is good. Again, it's just kind of identifying threats, like right when the game starts, you see the Terra Captain's Dragon. That's a note to keep Klefki for that guy. I know you want to use Klefki probably for Urshifu, but you ended up using it for the Sleep Fodder, which is probably like the worst Pokemon you could have used. So it's just little mistakes like that, but as long as you can see it after the game, that's all that matters, man. So you just know next time, like, you want to know what pieces to keep and what pieces are more like expendable kind of going into a game.
Yeah, I think that... I think I'm starting to see that more now.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially like when we prep together, right? Because like when we talked about, you know, have to keep Klefki for like Kyurem, right? And we'll have, you know, just like keeping different mons alive so that we don't just completely get run over by something, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Okay. So that was it, and then he just kills you. Okay, forfeit. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. All right. So we only got one more, and then we're gonna be good to go for this one, and that is your Your final. This was actually a finals game. I didn't realize until I saw your paste for Kahlo. So this was the
Yeah.
matchup, and I actually agree with the 6 Pokemon you brought. I think some of the sets might be different, but for the most part, like I think your team was completely fine going into this. The only set that I think looks pretty good is that you didn't have was excuse me, was Shell Smash Blastoise. Because his water resist does not resist ice, so all you need is 2 attacks, Surf and Ice Beam, and that frees up your last slot to be. It could be Dragon Pulse if you want to hit Wake a little bit harder. Could be Aqua Jet to cover for like a booster speed boulder, or just a priority in case they have like Sucker Punch on Grimmsnarl or something. Realistically, Grimmsnarl will probably Thunderwave over like Sucker Punch, but it could have Sucker Punch. You never know. So that was the only thing. But I mean, like based off this team composition you have, like yeah, you need Blastoise to be more Spadef because you already have 3 like pretty offensive Pokemon. Though I don't know because you have a Fizdefmon, you have a pretty Spadefmon, so it just depends. And I could see if your Blastoise was like carried Spin, then like it would make sense to kind of be like this type of set. But it doesn't have Spin, and I don't blame you because they have a pretty good Spin blocker that can come into Blastoise and just not really care about it. So that was like kind of like the only thing. If you felt like maybe like it's a pretty good win condition because like Shell Smash Toys, because do you have like a win condition on this paste? What would you say your win condition is?
I guess it'd just be probably Deoxys, right? Because that could kind of come in
Yeah,
late game.
I do think
And I
it's
have Lum for Thunderwave on Grimmsnarl.
yeah, I do think it is Deoxys. So going into this game, like what do you think was stopping your win condition here? Like is there any Pokemon or like something happening? Like what's kind of
Okay,
stopping that from
so
winning? What do you think?
definitely the Grimmsnarl. That's one thing. Like if it's at high health, I wouldn't be able to kill it with +2 Flash Cannon. The other thing would be booster speed on the boulder, because then that would, if I'm chipped, then it would be able to take me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then apart from that, there wasn't really too much. Like I guess the Dunsparce or like Iron Crown still, but I feel like Iron Boulder and Grimmsnarl were like the main worries
Yeah.
for the Deoxys.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, like I said, man, like your pace was pretty good. Like, I don't think there's really much, honestly, to change. So there's a bit of interesting. Tamirako is kind of cool. What is that for exactly? You think? I know you're Sash, so.
It was mainly the Toxtricity. Also,
Oh,
like a
okay, okay.
potential lead walking wake, right? So
Yeah, okay, that's cool. All right, so so Serp is your Terra Captain to Electric. Do you still think Electric was the best type here, or is there something else?
I think Electric was the best type here because it's able to, it's immune to paralysis, right? So Grimmsnarl can't really stop it.
Yeah,
Um,
Grimmsnarl T-Wave, and then also Body Slam Glare done too. That's good.
yeah, and of course, like Mirror Coat for Toxtricity if that ever comes, and it hits Moltres as well,
Yep.
which could have been a bring into me, right? Because it also stops Volcarona.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yep.
feel like the set. I feel like it's pretty fair here. I don't
Okay.
think I would change anything.
Terra Blast can also hit Moltres too, which is good. The only other type that I think you could have considered is Dark, because Dark it hits hits a couple of resists for super effective Crown Synestia, though those are the Terra Captains, so they can change their things, but it also hits Boulder, so you don't have to risk Leaf Storm. And the main thing is it dodges Prankster completely. So
Yeah. Okay.
he can't like T-Wave you anyway. He can't trick you, whatever. But you are still prone to para from this guy. And yeah, you can Leaf Storm if they bring Moltres, and then +2 Terra Blast from a Dark type. It's still gonna do a good chunk. It's not gonna like do as much as Electric, obviously. But if you're a Dark type too, like Moltres shouldn't be able to like one-shot you, unless it's like very offensive or something. And if that's offensive, then you're gonna do more to it. So that was really the other typing, but I could see Electric for sure, so I don't really have a problem with that either. So let's just go into the game. We'll see what happens here. So, okay, so you lead with your sash. Did every game have a sash lead?
I think so, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, yours did here with Darkrai, and then his did with
Haunch Pro.
Honchkrow. Yeah, this one didn't, but that's. Wait, yeah, it didn't. Okay, but still, yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I said earlier, sash lead is pretty common. So, anyway, so you're gonna lead this thing. I'm assuming you're gonna terrestrialize. What are you thinking for clicking here?
I think just Leaf Storm probably.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I agree. I would leave Storm as well. You go into Crown, which is fine. And then you go into your Spadef Crook, which is fine. So, let's see. So they throw off our Future Sight, so that's something to take note of. And then, you know they're going to switch, right? Like, you showed this is your switch in. You probably have, you have knockoff, right? Yeah, you have knockoff.
Yeah, I do.
So, I think knockoff is pretty free here. But you do make actually a better play and you switch. So, again, this is a prediction where it's a very early on in the game. I wouldn't say you're necessarily behind in the game yet. And getting it wrong could suck. Like, it could suck big time. Like, if they just stay in and Tachyon Cutter, like, that would probably do a shitload of damage to Klefki because you're Fizdef. But getting it right, it does give you a pretty big benefit compared to just staying in and knocking off on this thing. Because if you just knock off as they bring in this thing, it's obviously not going to do really anything because he uses his item too. Then you're kind of in a tough spot, right? Like with Crocodile versus things. So I think that's one of those plays where, yes, you can get it wrong, but realistically, it puts you in such a better position if you do get it right. And I don't know if did you anticipate Great Tusk, or did you just think he was switching to something else and this would have a good matchup?
I did think he would go into Tusk most likely,
Okay.
or like maybe to Dunsparce. But I think the main thing here though is that I knew for sure that he would switch just because without his Iron Crown, because his Salt Vest, without that around, then Deoxys Speed and Superior both became like crazy good into his team.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I switched out, because I didn't think that he'd go for Tachyon and just waste his best counter to my top threats, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so them bringing in Crown pretty early and just future sighting, them revealing Tusk pretty early, it's kind of obvious to me at least. Like, what can you tell by at this point? What do you think their win condition is?
I think Iron Boulder here.
Yeah, I would say so too. It's either Boulder or some sort of like setup Sinistia. That's probably one of the two.
Yeah.
So okay, but you make the good double and you get a favorable matchup here. So now there is one click that is better than the other ones. Realistically, you're clicking either Gleam or Spikes, right? Gleam is 1,000,000% the play here because you want to punish this thing for being in. Because even if he switches into something like, I don't know, let's say they go into Crown again to take the Gleam, you get something out of that turn anyway because you made them waste their booster. And if they stay in to break a balloon, then you're going to chunk it. So that's like a double positive. There's no reason to click anything. I said like there's rarely ever a time where like there's only one click that's for sure the best click. But this is one of those times where like you always Dazzling Gleam. It's the best move no matter what they do. So hopefully you do that. I think you do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do that.
Okay. And they reveal Spin. So, oh, and the Future Sight comes off. Okay. So, yeah, they can easily just kill you with a ground move. Like, you can get up a Spike if you want. But you reveal Magnet Rise, which is very good. Now, so this is an interesting click. Now, you might think, oh, I got him good. I'm a goat. Like, holy crap. But this thing can easily have fighting coverage, right? And if he did have fighting coverage, there's no reason for him to even click the ground move. Fighting coverage kills you from this range. There's no way it does. I know you're Fizdef, but this thing is a proto attack. Like, you die. So I think It's tough. It's tough. You obviously don't know, so I can see you just going for Magnetize, because if you do get the play right and he shows a ground move, then you're you're like way ahead. Um, but it's hard because if you want to use, if you like need Klefki for other stuff too, there's a there's something you could have done, which was switch, because I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard because if they do click a ground move here, like you don't really have a switch in, right? Like it just does a shitload of damage to something. And if they click the fighting move potentially, then if you try to go superior, like that's just gonna probably die, right? So maybe Magnetize was your play, but what I want you to get out of this too is like after this happens, because you still die to a fighting move here, I think what you should have done here is click spike, which you do, good. But also remember what I said earlier about like realizing what this thing doesn't have because he switched. Like there's no reason for him to switch if he has a fighting move. So now you know he doesn't have a fighting move here. What other two moves do you think this thing could possibly have? And we could look at the entire matchup too. Because
I honestly just assumed that he'd be like rocks or like either. I know he'd have Ice Spinner for sure for Dragonite.
yep,
In the other move, I think it might have been either rocks or bulk up.
rocks or bulk up.
Yeah,
so he does
'cause
have another rocker there. Rocks or bulk up. So yeah, so if you look at ground, ice, and rapid spin, that does mean he is walled again by the Magnetized Klefki, which is good. It could also be it might be a bug move too to hit Deoxys, Crook, Serp, like Megahorn or something.
that'd be pretty good to me, right? Because then it'd cover most of my options.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily need a rock move. It could be rocks, yeah, but I don't think he needs a rock move because ground move will still do a shitload of damage to Volcarona. So it's either got to be like knockoff, bug move, or rocks, and then Ice Spinner. Yeah, he's definitely gonna have Ice Spinner for D9. So you should, again, I don't know if you were just thinking of that in the game, probably not. You were just kind of focusing on the actual game itself and not thinking of this thing, but that's something that, again, you should do during the game if you can, like, get better at it, you know?
Okay.
All right, so but you click spikes here because you just anticipate a switch, which is the correct play too, because if you think he's gonna just kill you anyway with CC, then you know you might as well get a spike up anyway, right? So, but he clearly doesn't have a fighting move here, so you spike as he goes back into his crown, and then you just make the obvious play back into Crocodile, which is good. They Tachyon. Now here, do you knock off here or Earthquake? Knock off.
I think I knocked.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. They would give him the spin if he did go into Tusk, because I doubt knockoff killed at 16 with no item. Definitely didn't. So let's say they did go into Tusk here on the knockoff. Would you just stay in to try to kill it as they spin, or would you switch?
I think I would probably stay in to try and kill it.
Yeah, because I don't even know if Headlong kills you from here. Because again, he doesn't.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, he doesn't have a fighting move, so you could. And then if he does hit you, at least you keep the spike up too. So, I think knockoff is fair if you were just willing to kind of take health on this guy, but then that would open you up a bit weak to Crown a little bit. So, but regardless, he goes into the Dun anyway, so you get a good knockoff on him. Pivot Stoice on the rocks. Again, you don't have spin here, which is unfortunate. So. Take a glare, just fine. You click yawn so you could flip to the next turn, that's fine. I'm surprised they didn't go Sinistea. Like, I guess they just didn't expect a spin or anything. I don't know. That's kind of weird. But, maybe
they just wanted to get the pair off on me.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for sure. And then I guess they could try to rocks and then do it again next time, you know? But yeah, that's fine. So, you yawn and then you hard switch instead of flip turning, which is good. I think that's the correct play because you don't want to get fully paired. But they actually just stay in and take the sleep, so that was kind of interesting. And they do 19 to you, and you just get a free click now. It's Earthquake, and he's probably going to sack it, yeah. Okay, so everything's still good here. Nothing really too crazy. Whoa, okay, so they bring in Boulder right away. So now he's this is a mistake, in my opinion, as well. Because now he's telling you, like, he reveals that he's not booster. He's either gonna be just like maybe a resist berry with like swords dance / agility, or he's gonna be like a choice locked item, but he's not booster. So that's tough. I mean, it could still be like his win condition, but at least you know like information about it already. So, and like he could have just went probably Tusk here, no, and just killed you. So
Yeah, I think Tusk would have been better
yeah,
here.
I agree, because your only earthquake resist is Serp anyway. So
Yeah,
actually, no, you're electric. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so just Headlong was actually completely free there. I don't know what he was thinking. This was a mistake. What is this guy's? What is this guy's
Crook
Discord
is
name,
faster
by the way?
though. Or
Well, you don't
I
have.
think
Do you have
Hazy.
speed? Oh, you do have speed. Okay, never mind. You are faster. What's his name? Do you know?
I think it's Hazy. Let me check.
I don't know. Hazy. Sounds familiar a little bit, but I don't know. I guess Haze in his name, so probably.
Yeah, it is Hazy.
Okay.
Hazy Hydra.
Okay, so yeah, you're actually faster than Crooks or than Tusk, so Tusk is not the play there. So maybe he had to go. Maybe he had to go Boulder here because this thing might have Focus Blast would take you out, but he would risk missing. So actually, this is probably is his best play. Looking at it, because he doesn't want to just lose a Pokemon for no reason. I mean, I guess he could go into well, what's his Terra type on Synestia? He could do that too.
I think it's Fairy.
What the heck? It's poison. So,
Oh, Poison. Okay.
but it would be hard to Earthquake in front of a Synestia. You'd probably just click Knockoff, I'd assume, or Switch, maybe. So,
yeah, I don't think I'd Earthquake.
Yeah.
Unless it already Terra'd.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess he doesn't really care about revealing not booster. So, anyways, he goes into this thing probably to click Close Combat. And he does 36. That's probably not banded, right? That's probably just non-boosting.
No, that's not banded.
Okay. So yeah, so 36. He's got to switch out here. Grim, do you just flip turn? Yep, good. Bring in Serp. So I actually don't think this is correct here. I think you should go Klefki here and just get up more spikes. Because
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
what is this thing gonna do to you? It's not really a big deal if he paralyzes you. His attacks can't really do anything to you, right? So just getting up spikes. If you get up a spike and then he doesn't immediately go Tusk, like, you can very easily keep more than one spike up, and that's really good. Or you can even go Tusk. You can even go Klefki and then just Dazzling Gleam if you want. Like, because even if they go into Crown, like, do you have okay, you don't have Thunder Wave, but let's just chip on in. It's taking Spike and everything. I realistically think Klefki and Spike is a better play here, though, because you don't know anything about this set. This thing can be like light screen. It could be some sort of like trick set. Like, you don't know what it's gonna be, and I think Superior is still pretty good here. Like, it outspeeds everything except for Boulder, and it probably lives one hit from Boulder too. And Klefki is not gonna have too many opportunities. Like, it can always come in versus like anything on a free switch and just click Spike, but realistically you're probably gonna have to use Klefki to switch into something. So I just think you want to take as many opportunities as you can to get the hazards up, because that's something that supports your win condition, which is the Deoxys, right? Putting things in range for Deoxys is, or even hands too. Like, you haven't even sent in hands yet. Hands looks pretty good here. So it would really suck if like something lives on, a little bit because you don't have a spike up. But I mean, you go Serpier, it's fine. You're realistically, you're probably gonna kill this Grimmsnarl. You don't know what it's gonna do to you. And it does trick, so, which is kind of annoying because the Sash didn't matter obviously, but now now a Pokemon that was like faster and everything, besides one is slower than everything, so it is whatever. So you Leaf Storm, which is correct, and then what the hell? I just breaks. So you kill him, and then they go Tusk here. What the hell? Okay. So I don't agree with Spin here. I don't know why he would do that. I feel like him removing the one spike for his last 3 Pokemon instead of just KOing something with this is a lot more useful. It's like useless because now it's going to be what 6-3, assuming you hit Leaf Storm in Pokemon. So
Yeah.
it just makes it very hard. Do you hit? Yeah. It just makes it very hard for him to come back in that situation because again, you already know the item. Well, you don't technically know the item on Crown because I don't know if you actually hit it. But
No, I think I did calc it. I think it was Assault Vest.
what did you hit it with?
Leaf Storm from the sword.
Oh yeah. Okay,
It was
yeah.
like turn run or something.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So you know it is AV. You know this thing is not some sort of like booster setup crazy thing. It's probably locked. And then he's kind of basically revealing that okay, Sinistia is probably the only way he's gonna win the game. If it's like some sort of like calm mindset or something, or just like annoying strength sap. But he gets rid of the spike, so it is what it is. You take that, and he goes back into his AV Pokemon. And so you're actually... Oh, no, you're lagging down. Yeah, okay. So he kills you. That's fine. Okay, now you go Blastoise. Okay, I'm going to assume you were probably in range of an attack. That's why you didn't go crit? Or no?
Focus Blast kills me. I think Tachyon had like a 35% chance to kill me with like crits factored in. So yeah, that's
Okay.
why I went for Blast.
Okay. Yeah, you don't want to go Dio. Hands probably takes a good chunk from Psyshock. What's your... Yeah, you don't really have much defense at all. Okay. Okay, so you go Blastoise to potentially just Yawn.
Yeah, I think I yawn here.
Oh, you get Citrus too. Good. Okay, I didn't even know. I forgot about that. Okay, so you get a Citrus, so you definitely live. He just Future Sights, you Yawn. Okay, are you gonna double or are you gonna flip turn? Double to Crook, it's good. And I think you just knock off here, but it's a bit tough because he's just gonna get this right back with either String Sap or Smatcha. Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got pretty lucky.
Yeah, that's really good. Well, really good for you, obviously. So assuming that hit, he would have probably got, I don't know how much, like maybe like 20 to 30 back or something. I don't know. Yeah, what would be your play after? Because Blastoise probably dies. This thing can't
I
really
don't think
touch it. Like it has foul play as the last slot. It's not gonna do much, I don't think.
I feel like I'd probably go. I think hands maybe. Either that or Deoxys. It's. I don't know though. I feel like it's kind of hard, right? Because, I don't know if hands would be able. I don't know if this is like strengths up, right? So then,
Yeah,
if it is, then hands might kind of struggle.
you do have Swords Dance, so you will outwin the Strength Sap, but if you're...
There's always a chance of burn though.
Yes, if you get burned, then you're in big trouble. So that miss might have actually been bigger than he thought and that you thought during the game, but I'm assuming you just KO him now with knockoff. It looks like it's a roll because you did 60 with an item. Okay, and you get it, so never punished. Then they bring in Iron Crown. Yeah, you probably would have had to... Did you have a move to hit Dark Pulse? Dark Pulse. You probably would have had to just bring in Dio. I don't know how much Dark Pulse does. Shadow Ball wouldn't like one-shot you, I don't think. But Matcha would get health back, or maybe he, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't die to 2. I'm not sure, because are you boosting item or you're just, no, you're Slum.
No.
So, I don't know. That would have been tough. I think probably Dio would probably be better, though.
I think Dio is safer for that. Yeah.
That situation, yeah. So, but anyways, so you bring in Crook. This is pretty much sack fodder now. So, oh, it was a roll. Okay, 17 it did the first time. Okay. So he gets the roll back, which is fine. Okay, so here is where I was talking about, where it's not as bad now because I totally forgot that he revealed that he wasn't booster. But if this thing was kept in the back and was booster, I don't like going in Blastoise here just because if he switches into Stoise or into Boulder or like Volt Switches or something, and your Blastoise is on the field, right? You're very vulnerable to just losing the game because you have to switch, or if you stay in, you can get parried. So, do you think there's a better Pokemon you think that you could have gone into here, or no?
Probably Iron Hands, because it'd be able to. I think it'd be able to put the crown in range for Deoxys, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the correct play too.
Yeah.
Because you have Earthquake. No, you have Thunder Punch.
No, I
so you would
don't.
just close combat. Okay. Yeah, close combat would still do a shitload of damage to it though, because you are max attack adamant too. So yeah, CC into Dark Pulse win, I think, is the way to go here. And then if this thing is faster than Dio for some reason, like you see what he locks into, and there's not really a move that can beat the rest. Like a dark move won't do shit to Klefki, a rock move won't do shit to Klefki, you know? So fighting move won't do anything to Dio, right? So I think going hands here does give you the best chance to avoid like any hacks to making you lose the game. But it seems like you're not getting paired. There's one para though. Oh, there's two paras. I don't know what the heck that was. What did he do? He future sighted, then volt switched to Boulder, and then back to Boulder, back to Crown.
Well,
okay, so you yawned, you volt switched, goes Boulder, and then you get parried here. So why doesn't he kill you here? I guess
I feel like
because he's locked.
I mean, I might have had Thunderwave Klefki, right? I didn't reveal all of my moves here. So if they killed me right, then I could pretty much just go into hands, kill the Boulder, right? Because I didn't reveal my hands moveset either. It could have been Earthquake, pretty realistically.
I don't know if Earthquake even kills Boulder though. I think Boulder has good defense. I'm not sure. Let me see real quick. We'll check it out. Why not? And actually, it's a good roll if he is no bulk. Would he have bulk in this? He would have some, yeah, for sure. But okay, but yeah, that's true. He didn't know yet. He didn't have Earthquake, so. But also, like, I kind of get here too, like why he didn't, because sure you don't know he might be locked in, but he knows he's locked in. So whatever he kills you with, like, you just go into something else that gets a big hit on something, you know. So
yeah.
So I understand actually the double back, and he just died to. What did you click there, by the way? Did you click flip turn?
I clicked flip turn, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been good. Okay. But, alright, so you basically lose Blastoise. Hands comes in. Probably just to dent this thing. Yep. Dang, that almost killed. Crazy. You sack it, and then I'm assuming you just go Big Dio. But yeah, keeping Klefki is pretty key, because... wow, he actually switches. What? Oh, he never even terrored either. What the hell?
Yeah, they were. I mean, it makes sense because the Sinistcha just died anyways because it missed the Matcha. So that, I'm assuming they would probably.
He could have terrored the second turn and just strength zapped, so knockoff didn't kill him.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they were just worried because the other thing, right, is if hands came back in and they were just Terra Poison already, then Earthquake might have killed or would have done a lot of damage. So I don't know.
I think it's still better than just not tearing it. I don't know, because if it was like Strength Sap, Calm Mind, and then like something else, like that is pretty tough for you if it's like Fizz Def, you know? Calm Mind, so
yeah.
I don't know. That was kind of a weird. I just noticed he didn't even Terra, so, but it is what it is. So, and then here, I don't get why he. Well, I guess it makes sense too. Yeah, to switch here. Because...
it was scarfed the boulder.
Yeah, yeah, you can kind of tell it's locked in. But I was gonna say it doesn't really make sense to switch here, but it does um, because he Boulder can't, if he just sacks it to get in Boulder at 88. I don't think Boulder can beat both of this with one move. I don't know how much it does. How much does Mighty Cleave do to Klefki? Were you Fizz Def too? You were.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so it's not gonna do anything. I don't think.
Yeah, I think it was also a roll for Deoxys to kill with Dark Pulse. It wasn't my favorite, but it was still a roll regardless. So they might have been banking on that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. The thing is though too, like Mighty Cleave is a high crit rate too, right? Eh. Foul Plate's is a shitload though, damn. Yeah, so what they could have done I think is sacked Crown and then be at 88 and then just go for the Mighty Cleave crit, because crit definitely does kill this guy, right? And one crit would put Klefki in 2-shot range because Foul Play wouldn't kill him from 88, but the path they take here, it just Throat Chop never killed, so they can't win anyway. So they had to go for a Mighty Cleave crit, and if they're gonna go for that play, it's better to keep Boulder at 88 and just sack the Crown. Because I don't think, was that a roll? Like, I don't even think so. Throat Chop.
No, I think I always lived.
And again, even if it was a roll, like it's not gonna do anything to Klefki. So Deoxys speed. Yeah, like what, 64 I think or something. Yeah, 64.
Yeah.
And he had to be Jolly for Superior, so no, I think you were at 87, right, or something. 88, 88.
I
so,
only took one round of rocks.
Yeah, so it never killed. So let me see if this Mighty Cleave crit even kill. Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So their play at the end of the game anyway was to go for the Mighty Cleave crit. So it just makes sense to sack this thing, go for that crit, and then you would need one more versus Klefki. Well, actually, yeah, you need to get 1 out of 2 because Foul Play wouldn't kill Boulder from 88, I don't think. And you were...
No, it lives that.
Yeah, you were not in 2-shot range from Cleave, though. You need to get crit by one of them, I think. Right. Bold. 17 to 20, you would have been at 46. So, yeah, he would have needed one more crit. Which, so he basically needs 2 crits out of 3 attacks. It is a high crit move, it can't miss, which is nice, but basically the path that he took here, just he could not win. It was a 100% lose. So I don't know. I think you played this game pretty well. Again, it's just that whole guarding versus like their possible win conditions when you had that Blastoise out. You did know it wasn't booster. I suppose it still could have been like, you know, a Swords Dance or Agility, like just without booster, maybe a Resist Berry or something. And then going hands first in that initial sequence would have been better. But yes, congrats to Pampey for winning Hollow. Was that the first league you won?
Yeah.
Really? Oh, cool. So, do you know what division that was in? Like, how many divisions they have?
It was the second lowest.
How many do they have?
'Cause they have 4 divisions.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So you're probably playing like the next one higher, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so at least.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for battling. Like, it's just, if you had to take one thing out, it's basically just like thinking of all of things like during the battle, like how does everything affect something later in the game. Don't just play for in the moment. Minimize your predictions. Think about all possible sequences. Just things like that. I think makes you a better player, but also like, again, going into the game too, like once you get better at building, like you'll start to notice a difference where it makes battling easier if you have a better team going in. So it's just how everything kind of relates to each other and things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if you have any other questions or anything about, or like anything that kind of sticks out for you when you battle that you think you could maybe try to work on or something.
I mean, probably just keeping everything in mind. That's probably the one thing I need to work on because I feel like sometimes I don't fully consider my options, like
Yeah.
during the battle.
Yeah, and yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Like, trust me, it's hard, but at least, like you said, like maybe after the games too, like just going over replays like this, you can kind of see where you made some mistakes and kind of fix it from there. So,
Yeah, because I feel like it's a lot easier for me to kind of see, like when I watch these replays back, I feel like it's easier to see sort of what the mistakes were and what I could have done better, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, but that's pretty much it for battling. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video here, and then we'll talk a little bit after. So, peace.